questions? Question, what is that?
I have a comment.
Can everybody hear? Or should I bring?
I'm very misleading Professor, and I was absolutely thrilled with what you said. And you asked us to be reflective, so that's what I've been doing up there. And you talked about the Zarathushti prayer, which was absolutely phenomenal. But I now want to talk to the younger generation. What he talked about was the needy and the poor. Very true. What the Zarathushti prayer tells us, I think, is to get rid of inequity. When you think about the needy and the poor, we are thinking in terms of money and time. I think it goes beyond that. It deals with competency. I want to share with you 4 examples of competencies that have been shared in the Zoroastrian Association of Houston. Ahura Mazda and Ahura Mazda. Think about it. They have adopted the ZAH as their family.
Could you drop the mic? We can hear you all right.
They have adopted the Zoroastrian Association of Houston as their community. For a number of years, Ahura and Khushroo had the Sunday school at their home. Ahura and Khushroo had the Sunday school at their home. Mobedyar.
Come here.
You come here, it's better.
Mobedyar, his talent in this community has been art and fundraising. Just think about what he's done for this community. Ahura and Zarathushtra, think about them. The library, Purvis in putting this building together. This is talent. These are competencies. This is not necessarily saying, when I have the money I will do it, or when I have the time I will do it. This is an inner feeling of saying there's inequity here, and it is my job to get rid of that inequity. Sarush and the collector, think about them. They have been here for the youth, the lock-ins, the emotion that they have put into this community. So to the youth of this generation, yes, in the old generation we lived our religion by cutting our nails and putting it elsewhere, taking our hair off and putting it elsewhere. But what you have here, because your parents have come here, is the opportunity to share your talent. So if you know how to teach, teach. If you know how to cook, cook. If you know how to inspire people, inspire people. Do not just think in terms of time and money. So I think what we've got to do here is that we need to think about the Yatharvarya prayer in terms of inequity. Why is that the case? When we think in terms of thinking in terms of the environment, what are we thinking about? We want a balance in the environment. There's an inequity, therefore we fix it. Therefore we do certain things with it. Therefore we don't do this to the water or that to the fire. And that is something we need to bring into our daily life. It was a phenomenal talk. Thank you so much.
The cleanliness of the cleansing of the house.
Can everybody hear?
Cleansing of the house, everything in the morning and all this stuff. That's all that is fine, but that's all mechanical or physical cleanliness. Unfortunately, what I see in India throughout the times when I grew up, and even in fact worse is now, that people are so very bent out of shape on physical cleanliness that they have completely forgotten about the spiritual cleanliness. Our religion talks about cleaning the mind and the spiritual aspects more than the physical cleanliness. The lady who is cleaning the house is cleaning the house, but the madam of the house is screaming and yelling at the lady. So which cleanliness is better, the cleanliness of your mind or the cleanliness of your physical surroundings? The priests who are performing the darshans, if you see the Zatra, they are filthy. And nobody's, I've raised this issue several times in different galleries, and everybody says that, oh, they don't have any washing machine, and the community is not doing anything. So all these things are very, very important, and more important is the cleanliness of the mind, because I put that above physical cleanliness, because if your mind is dirty, no matter how much, how many gift papers you wrap on your body is not going to be eventually clean. Ultimately, God wants some spiritual fruits, not religious nuts. So.
What happens is, the ritual of keeping our surroundings clean is meant to remind us and guide us in keeping our minds clean. Inequity, as in the case of the Madame of the house shouting at the servants and saying, "Ek glass pani lao," that inequity is what Farooq's talking about. That we have to have a balance. When we lose sight of why the ritual is there, we lose sight of the spiritual aspect. I know a lot of people who are now so hung up upon ritual that they forget why the ritual started to begin with. Ritual is important. It is a continuity that it provides the continuity. If we didn't have ritual, we would forget. But when we forget in spite of the ritual, it's sad. Yes.
You talked about, the nails we cut, not be cut in the house and all that. And, I do follow that and get laughed at my wife right here. Could you elaborate on that? Why? Because I just took it as osmosis from my parents and all that. So I just want to know what's the logic behind it.
Again, dead matter. Hair, nails are considered dead matter. Dead matter is considered nasho. Nasho is unclean. Nasho affects your spirit. As I said just before this, when we forget why we did that, we forget to do the right thing for it. It was not just not dropping the nails on the ground, but there was a thing involved with it, which now we have lost sight of. That's why cutting nails and letting them fall on the ground is that this is dead matter. We don't want to encourage stuff like that around us. When we really embrace the reason behind the ritual, we really become different people. As I said, people forget that. And then they just go on doing it automatically, not remembering why they did it to begin with. To give you an example, in the Jewish faith, they will not cook meat and milk products in the same kitchen. They will just not have that. Their dishes will be different, their kitchen will be different. It's a big thing, and it always intrigued me. I work with Jewish people in Montreal, and I asked them, what is the basis of this ritual? Why do you not mix the two together? I don't know, we've always done that, was the answer I got. Finally, I pick up the phone and call my walking encyclopedia of religious knowledge, John Bugley, and I asked him if he knew why this was so. He said, "Khushroo, I'll look it up and call you back." And he did. In the Deuteronomy, it says, "Thou shalt not cook the lamb in its mother's milk," which was a pagan custom which had been going on, and some kind of a pagan ritual, and to get away from that, this thing was said, "Thou shalt not cook the lamb in its mother's milk." That's why they don't cook the meat with the milk. Nothing to do with health, nothing to do with anything. It was to get away from a certain paganism that was present in the Jewish faith at that time. Similarly, we, as I said again, I have friends and relatives who get so hung up on the ritual that they forget why the ritual started. It's important to keep sight of that. You are right in not wanting the nails in the house. She is right in not understanding why you don't want the nails in the house. Somewhere between the two, you have to come up with a reason for it. Okay, yeah.
Should we then always clean the floor before we keep walking on it every time?
Yes, because there is a very scientific reason for that anyway. Because things gather there, I mean, things that gather there. You don't really want that.
How practical would that be?
In this day and age, with our lifestyle, once vacuuming once a week, we just about as high as we can go. In India with the servants, yes, they did the sweeping, they did the mopping, and it was very nice. It was ideal. We could do it. We do when we can.